Now, to discuss the conduct of the Rivers Rerun, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by the convener of the Election Situation Room, Mr. Clement Wankwo. Thanks a lot for joining us on the news at 10 from Abuja.
Thank you.
Again, we see a process marred by violence. And before we get into it, what do you think, what's your assessment of what you saw happening today?
Well, before today, the Civil Society Situation Room had issued a statement on the situation in the Rivers State. We were worried about the conditions prevalent before the elections. On election day, we did have people on the field who reported very sad incidents. The rhetorics of the politicians, the logistics failures on the part of INEC on election day, and all of the activities surrounding the elections, including the activities of security agencies, is a sad reflection on Nigeria's electoral system. And I really, and my colleagues in the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room, are very disappointed with what happened in Rivers State. It was certainly not the way an election should be conducted. The political parties, INEC, the security agencies did not discharge their responsibilities the way that they should have.
Yeah, I mean, in that particular video that we saw with the disruption at that center, the police have come out to say that those were not their men. What do you have to say about that?
I think clearly the police has questions to answer. I think that this takes us back to dark days. Certainly when armed people, armed personnel wearing police uniform are going about the state, going around election venues unrestrained, captured on video, and we see the police coming and making statements that these are not our men. There's a lot of questions to be answered by the police about this particular video, and indeed several other reports across the state that was filed by observers about the conduct of security personnel. The conduct was very damning, completely unacceptable. It reminds us of some of the cases that are being investigated or indeed prosecuted by the present government in the elections that was held when they were in the opposition. Certainly, this is not the way elections should be conducted. I just came back from Ghana, observing the elections in Ghana, and they put us to shame by the smooth flow of the electoral process in that country. Several of what they were doing, the process was taken from Nigeria, simplified, and made very efficient and effective. There were no policemen going around polling units. There were no soldiers mounting roadblocks. People were going about their daily activities, getting off work, going to vote, coming back to work. What happened in Rivers is sad for us as a country and sad on Nigeria's elections.
All right, I took a look at your report, and let me just read out a part of it, and the report that you released. And you said the violent disruption of voting and collation in areas observed means that these polls will not be accepted locally as credible. Do you still stand by that?
It is our statement. We stand by it. What happened in Rivers was not a credible election. It is a sad pointer. If we were to continue along this path towards 2019, I really worry where we are headed. But certainly, we need to take cognizance of what has happened. INEC needs to investigate what happened in Rivers State, including the activities and conduct of its personnel. The Inspector General of Police and the various arms of security services need to investigate how their men conducted themselves in Rivers State. It is certainly unacceptable. This is not the way democracy survives in the country. We need to build on what we did in the 2015 general elections, and it looks like what happened in Rivers takes us miles and years back, and this is not the way democracy can survive.
And speaking on the role of INEC, we did speak with the INEC National Commissioner some hours ago, and she did confirm that there were some lapses on the part of INEC officials themselves, not just in terms of their conduct, but also the difficulty they had, getting materials to the site. We keep hearing that. How do you think we can come out of this kind of thing all the time? Well, certainly INEC had its challenges, but we think they could have done better.
They did have challenges moving materials around, but when we had voters, when we had observers going around, in a lot of instances, polling units did not open on time, materials were not delivered. In some cases, polling units opened as late as 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Certainly, if INEC saw that it could not organize a credible elections, it should have put the process to a hold.
We also had a statement from the Clean Foundation, just to find out from you if that's what you observed as well, since you were on the ground there and you had your men there. And they've said that security agencies were observed openly aiding a particular political party, and they're calling for a review of their role. Is that what you observed as well?
Well, that is INEC. The Clean Foundation is a part of the Situation Room, has been part of this process, has the best understanding of the role of security personnel in elections. Their report is credible, and we believe that they have issued a report that is in tandem with the report of several other of the observer groups, including the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room.
All right, finally now, let me just ask you, by law, arm-bearing policemen are not allowed to approach the polling unit. That isn't the case that we have. What can we do to do things differently next time? Because obviously they're returning to Eche, we hear maybe on Wednesday.
Well, beyond Eche and looking forward to elections, there has to be a special unit of the police that understands the rules of election conduct by police personnel. The laws are very clear. Only unarmed personnel of the police should be at polling units, just to ensure that voters orderly conduct themselves and orderly come out to vote. Beyond that, they should not be seen anywhere near polling vicinity, and the Inspector General of Police needs to investigate what has happened in this case in order that we do not even begin to think that this was a systemic action on the part of the police to subvert the electoral process. People must be brought to account. Those who participated in interfering in the election process in Rivers State must be brought to account. Okay. The security personnel, INEC, as well as every other stakeholder in the electoral process who helped to give a bad name to elections in Rivers State should be brought to account.
The convener, Election Situation Room, Mr. Clement Wankwo, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us on the news at 10 tonight.